Line unmuted.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're gonna get started with the call here in a second. I just wanted to. This is Brian Trippe. I've got Samuel Minter with me. He's gonna help us answer a few questions if anybody has any questions. There's only a couple of us on the call, and I had a question from someone. Hold on. Let me start this real quick. Okay, I just did. I had a question from somebody. He was asking about. I couldn't even really answer it, to be honest with you. He was asking about. Oh yeah. Here it is. So the question I got, and I don't even really know the answer to this. I'm gonna see if Sam knows the answer to this. So he's looking to buy a house. This guy's looking to buy a house that has a notice on it that it's going to get demolished. And the question was, can that be stopped? Can you go somehow take some sort of action to stop it from getting demolished, like fix whatever they, think is fixed? So I just told him, I just kind of answered it this way. I think you need to just check with that municipality, call the municipality and see. Because no, I've never heard of that before. What do you think, Sam? Have you ever encountered anything like that before?
Yes. If you see the demolition notices on your house, they have a number on them. You can call them and find out what exactly the problem is with the property, and you can stop a demolition if they say, in Jefferson County. If I don't know exactly where this person.
It was Jefferson County, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you just have to contact the authorities. And give them your address, and then fix whatever they want to get fixed. Now, Jefferson County, Birmingham, it takes them a long time, sometimes years, to get the bulldozer out. So you do have some time, but I would probably do it sooner than later if you wanted to save the property.
Cool. No, I didn't even know that. Good deal. I got a notice right here, actually. It's on my desk that says they're going out to demolish a house that'll be demolished like in a month. But this is a house that I got in a bulk, a group of houses that we bought a long time ago, and it's just not something that I have any interest in saving. I couldn't sell it, and so it's just sitting there. Okay, so if anyone has a question, hit 5-star. I believe that's right. And we are going to. I'm going to unmute you. The few people that have raised their hands, we got about 5 people in here right now. I'm going to unmute you, and I think it'll say you have been unmuted. And when you have, if you would just kind of give us your name and where you're from. I'm assuming you're from around Birmingham, and let me know what question you have. How's it going? Who is this?
Hey, Brian. Hey, Sam. This is D'Angela. I came to the boot camp.
Yeah. Hey, D'Angela.
Hello.
Hey. I had a question in regards to, I was doing some driving for dollars a few days ago. I think it was like Monday. And I saw a lot of vacant houses in the 5 Points area, like in that general area. And I was just wondering if that's a good place to, I would say, look for vacancies. Is it a sign that it's so many in that area? Because it's like a lot.
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, Brian always says err on the side of the contract. If you can get the property under contract for, I guess in that area, we'd probably say 60% of market value, then I'd go for it. Just make sure you do all your research on the comps, taxes, and just make sure. I mean, if it's a good deal, I'd put it under contract. I wouldn't really worry about the area too much.
Yeah, and just kind of add to that, I would say I've made money in any kind of area. Okay, so I guess your question is more towards just being a really bad area. I'm guessing. I've made money in the worst areas in Birmingham, and so it's all going to come down to what you can get it for. I don't mind the fact that it's a vacant, rundown house in. I'm assuming when you say 5 Points, you're talking about 5 Points West?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, because it could be there's 5 points
Or
north, south, east, but yeah, I've done houses over there. I've made money over there, D'Angelo. So the area doesn't concern me. It's what can you get it for? That's going to end up being kind of the trick to the whole thing. Do you remember when you came to that boot camp? I taught you how to make money with the really bad houses, distressed houses. You got to get them for next to nothing. You got to get them for $500 to $1,000. You can resell those houses on Craigslist, putting on Zillow, whatever. You can resell those houses for $3, $4, $5, $6,000. So that's a great way to make just a few $1,000s pretty quickly, and we do that a lot actually. So no, it doesn't bother me that it's the area.
When we were in the boot camp, I was talking to some of the buyers there, and they were saying basically that they wouldn't like basically touch areas that were war zones, quote unquote.
Right.
So I was just thinking that would that area be I would think that would be considered like that type of area.
Right. So listen, D'Angelo, so your buyer for those houses, your buyer is not going to be an investor most likely. If it is an investor, it's going to be like a mom and pop investor, not a professional real estate person. So that's what I was talking about. Your buyer is going to be, you're going to find them through Craigslist. You're going to find them through like Zillow ads, and you're going to find them. The great way to find buyers for those kind of houses is by putting up bandit signs that say cheap house for sale, phone number. Cheap house for sale, and then put your phone number on there. That's the best way, and put them within a mile radius of the house you have. That's the best way to find. You're not going to be able to sell those properties to someone like me or someone like Sam or any other real estate professional. You got to sell them to a mom and pop, maybe even a neighbor. Sometimes, a lot of times, the neighbors are very interested in stuff like that. And when you can sell them for $500 or $1,000 down and $200 or $300 a month, that's a great way to make some extra money and have some cash flow coming in. Does that make sense?
Okay, it does. Thank you.
So
okay, you're welcome. Cool.
The main thing, like I always tell you, you got to get those numbers, work your numbers, make sure you get it under contract for a good deal. Then worry about all that other stuff. But make sure you run your numbers and get it under contract for a good amount.
Yeah. Good deal. D'Angelo, do you have a follow-up or do you have any other questions?
I don't. Not at this time.
Okay.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, no problem. If you think of another question, just hit 5-star. If anyone else has any other questions, hit 5-star. No, I think that's like I said, I do it. I've done it and I do it. I think that's the area doesn't concern me. Really as much as what you can get it for. That's really the key to it. Does anyone else have a question? If you do 5-star, there are a lot of people in here and no one has raised their hand to ask a question yet. So if you have a question, we got 6 people in here right now. Do you have anything to? I guess you don't really have anything to add to that.
I think I said pretty much everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure you, no matter what the area, just make sure you check your comparable prices in the area. Typically within a less than a mile radius if you want a good comp. And then just make sure you get it under contract. Just
Cool.
get those contracts, people.
Awesome. If anyone has a question, hit 5-star. Hey, what's going on? Is this Duff?
It is. Sorry for being late, man.
No.
I hate it. I got 50 things going on. But real quick, when you, let's say as a wholesaler, I get a house, a contract on a house. Well, through you being gracious and all the rehabbers in town being gracious, we now have about 30 names. What's the best approach? Just send an email blast to those guys, or call a few, or talk to you? What's the best approach if we were to get a house to wholesale?
So I would want to develop a relationship with someone.
Right.
I know you got like a list. You can do it a lot of different ways. You can maybe when you're first starting out, to get the best kind of deal for you, is to blast it out. Just put everybody on you can go to mailchimp.com, and it's free, and you can send out they've got templates on there, professional looking emails, put pictures. So I guess, Duff, I've been getting. I want to kind of say this. You kind of reminded me of something. I've been getting a lot of questions lately about, and you included. I'm not picking on you, about, hey, I've got this. We take a look at this. What do you think about it? You really need to have your ducks in a row before you start blasting stuff out to potential buyers, because they're all gonna want to know really the same kind of information. They want to know, obviously, the address. They want to know how much are you asking for it, bed and bath, just a rough repair estimate. You don't really need comps. Aren't really that big of a deal, because if they're interested, they're gonna get that on their own. But you've got to be able to have that kind of information, and then a way to access it, a way to get access to the property, that's easy for everybody. So if you have all that information and you have a contract on the house, then you can send it out to your list. But yeah, that's probably the best way. What do you think, Sam? Sam was on the call with us too. What do you think, Sam?
As far as
like, what's the best way if you get a property under contract and you're a new wholesaler? That's the question, right, Duff? If you're a new wholesaler,
because I don't want it to just seem like, oh my gosh, I've given Brian my name, and now these crazy newbies are all firing me all kinds of weird stuff all the time, and pretty soon you have no credibility because you're not really being professional. You're just firing it out 75 different ways. I mean, I want people to know, but I want to do it professionally. Like you said, I don't want to do it. I want to make sure I know what people are looking for. I've thought about actually calling each of the people in there and asking them, like, how do you evaluate? What's the best way for me to connect with you if I have something? Because I don't want to be spending my time wasting it either.
Well, I would say to that, most of the investors, most investors won't mind at all if you're blasting them 100 properties if they're actual deals. And I think, like I said before, basically just make sure you have your numbers, and I know it's going to take some time for you to get the the experience in knowing what is a good deal in certain areas. But if you have a good deal and you vetted the numbers, you generally have a good feeling about the price that you have the house under contract for, then it won't seem unprofessional if you're blasting it out, because they're going to want that deal. As a startup, I wouldn't worry too much about how you look, right now. But I would just say, just make sure.
I'm not really worried about how I look, to be honest with you. I just don't want people to go. I don't want the guys that have been in the business who can get a good deal from me, or that can help me, with a good deal for them. Because that's really the crux of it. I mean, I want a good deal too, but I really want it to be a good deal for them, because that builds credibility with them, with me. I just don't want to send it out 18 different ways and find out that it's, that's not meaningful for them. But I think what Brian said, what you said, Sam, is pretty good. The details of, what are the details we really need to have when we send that out so that it is professional.
Well, like I was saying, before, I would say if you were nervous about, whether or not you should blast it out, I don't know. I wouldn't put myself out there and say, give me a call every time, but I definitely think I tell people this, I can't stress it enough. You really have to spend a lot of time running the numbers, and once you get to a point where you're confident in your numbers, it won't matter. If you have a deal on your hands, the investors in town, they won't care. They won't care if it's a good deal, how you send it to them, how they get it to them. If you had a deal and you wrote it up on a napkin, most investors probably wouldn't care. They're like, oh, this is a good deal. This is great.
That's right.
I got you.
No, that's absolutely right though. I mean, if you've got a, and plus too, if you actually have a contract on a house, you obviously want to sell the thing. So I'm trying to get it.
Yeah.
I don't really care in the beginning what I look like to other people because
Yeah,
I want
no.
to sell the dang thing. And there are
Right.
people like me who will actually tell you. So Duff, I mean, I know you can imagine how many people send deals to me. I mean, I probably get five
Well,
or
that's why.
six deals a day come through my inbox, and you know how many are good deals? Like 1 or 2% of them. Like 1 out of 50 is an actual
Right.
deal. So I think
Right.
a lot of buyers, quote unquote buyers, most buyers that I know of are not getting their deals from wholesalers. Now there are a couple of the turnkey companies that rely on wholesalers, but they're paying way more.
Mhm.
But the problem really is most wholesalers are trying to make 15, 20, 30 grand a pop.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So
Well,
so or so
I mean,
so
it's
so
really
Duff
nice to
so,
think about.
so Duff, listen.
But that's
This
ridiculous.
this is what happens. So you get a property under contract and you don't want to you really want offers, but you got to throw a number out there as the wholesaler, right? So say you get a property under
Right.
contract for 60 or 65 cents on the dollar. You're going to put it out there at 80 cents on the dollar and see what kind of offers you get. You're always that's what most wholesalers do. I don't do that. But that's what most wholesalers do. So that's why
Yeah,
so
that doesn't sound like it builds credibility, nor does it, I mean, because the deal for you want to turn the property. I mean, I'm not rehabbing things right now. I want to get some properties that I can turn. And
exactly.
if I make $2,500, $5,000, $7,500 off a property, that's a blessing for me. So I don't need to make 30 grand off a wholesale right now. I just want to turn properties, help somebody else, and get my money built up so that I can go start rehabbing.
Yeah, man. I would say, just reiterating on what I said before, the most unprofessional thing that I see from wholesalers is when they send me these emails, doesn't matter how they get it to me, when they send me a deal and it's like $20,000 overpriced. That's unprofessional to me. And, that's how you run, you run your name in the dirt, because when I see your email come across my page and I was like, oh, this is the guy
You don't pay attention.
yeah, this is the guy that sends them out for 20 grand too much or whatever. And you're kind of like, I mean, you'll look at it, but having your numbers on point and knowing your market is it's going to make you look professional, period. It doesn't matter, as far as your outward appearance would matter so much, but if the numbers are on and it's a good deal, people are going to know you know what you're doing.
Well, you got a guy that I'm taking up all the time. I apologize, but you got one guy that's just trying to kill everybody with one deal, and then you got somebody else who's new who really doesn't get it completely just yet. So he's shooting high, not because he's trying to make more money, but because he just hasn't got it figured out yet.
Right.
So you got two different sets of circumstances. What I'm trying to avoid, I don't want to gouge anybody. I just want to turn properties. My time will come to rehab and move on from there. But I don't want to be the guy sending out properties that are like, I'm not paying attention to what that guy sends because he's way off. He's shooting to the moon.
Well,
not because I'm trying to make more, but because I'm not got a handle on what I'm supposed to do.
Sure.
That's what I want to be cautious of.
No, well, Duff, to be honest with you, if I'm in your situation, I'm not worrying about that. I think that this question is something that you just need to completely forget about, just being totally honest. Like, so what Sam said, when I get emails from certain people, I know for a fact the property's going to be way overpriced, okay? But I still look at it. I look at it every time. And but that might have to do more with I'm really interested to see what other people are doing. I'm interested to see what other people are pricing properties for, and I keep a log. And this is another thing you need to do. You need to get on people's buyers lists so you can start seeing what other people are sending out, how much they're sending out for, and then you can track that property. When they send you an address, you can start tracking these properties and start seeing a month down the road, see if they sold. And if they did sell, what did they actually sell for? What was the actual sales price? So he was asking 100, but he only got like 70 or 80.
Right.
So those are things that you can do too. So, but that's as a new guy, listen, that's the last thing you need to be thinking about. I really truly believe that.
I'm not worried about. I'm not worried about my image. I don't really care what people think. I just want, but I don't want people to get my offers and go like Sam just said. I get them from certain people, or you get them from certain people, and you just go, he's just always high. I mean, I don't want to be that guy.
But Duff,
So,
being that guy shouldn't even be registering on your. It shouldn't even be on your radar right now because it doesn't matter.
okay.
Nobody, no offense to you whatsoever, but nobody even really knows who you are.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's a property. It's a property that comes through their email, and if it looks like a decent deal, then they're going to contact you. If it looks like if you're close in price, they're going to get back in contact with you. Just like Sam said, you could hand someone a napkin, with a deal written on it. It doesn't matter. It's just and it doesn't matter if you send one out $50,000 overpriced. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Just all that anyone who should be even me. All that I'm focused on right now is finding the deal. Find the deal, find the deal, find the deal, find the deal. All these other semantics, they end up falling in place. You're new. You're gonna make some. You're gonna misprice some things. There's no question about it. But that's just a part of it,
Right.
and it's the learning part of it. And you're gonna put houses under contract for way overpriced that you shouldn't have. It's a part of it, and it's a part of doing this business and learning it. That's all I really can say. Just spend all your time and energy trying to find a deal. That's all.
Yeah.
And if you're really worried about what, you just run it by me. Like, hey, I got this house under contract. When you get a contract, I'd love to know about it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, man, that's good.
You got a follow up? How's everything else going?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Just
Okay.
some personal things going on that are distracting me right now, but that'll be done soon.
Yeah, well.
So, not a big deal. It's part of life. That's what we all got, right?
Yeah, you just got to compartmentalize it and just
Just
find
Keep moving.
find a way to make real estate just a part of this is a part of my day. Even if you have a full-time job,
right.
if it's 9 to 5, if you leave for work at 8, why don't you leave at 7 and drive around a little bit, and then at home at night, just like I know you're doing it, get to know your market, so
yeah.
well, and you just
that's coming along well. So.
good, awesome. Thanks, Duff.
No, all your tips are great. Everything that you've said, all the seminars, all the weekend things, they've all contributed to help formulate what I'm doing, which is not a lot yet, but will be.
No, man, it's gonna come. It's just it really takes and what I'm seeing too. And I might as well just address it. I'm not picking on you at all. It's a lot of people they really believe that I'm gonna make money for them, and I'm not saying that's you. I'm getting calls and emails about, hey, can you help me with this, or can we do this? Nothing's happening. I've done this for so long and nothing's and it's like I cannot hand you money. It's so much work. It's so much work, and people just don't get it. When I did my first deal, I'm telling you, for 30 consecutive days, I was probably working 13, 14-hour days. Just crazy, just absorbing every piece of information I possibly could, going to every single meeting that I possibly could, having lunch with people that I met, just going having conversations like this with people, studying my market, driving for dollars, hanging up bandit signs, getting on Craigslist and just putting out offers like crazy, finding the for sale by owner websites and putting out offers like crazy. I'm telling you, that's all I did. I was on the phone with sellers all day. I was on the phone all day with sellers. And that's one of the things that I feel like most people aren't. They want it to just come. I'm like, well, how many sellers have you talked to? Well, I talked to this one guy a couple of days ago. I'm like, I was talking to 20 sellers a day. 20 sellers a day, making 20 offers. It's what it takes, and people just don't
Yep.
get that. And I can't hand them money. I mean, it's
all.
Let's Sam.
It was also, me and Brian both have been getting, flooded with questions and concerns of new investors, and we try to. The part that a lot of people don't understand is, 99 of those phone calls or whatever are probably not gonna turn into a contract, and that's okay. It's just part. It's just part of the process. But just because not you personally, but if you, I know when you get started, it feels like a lot. I've found a house. I tracked this person down. I've got an appointment, and I know that it's a lot of stuff. And a lot of people feel like this is going to materialize into some money, but I mean, the percentages, the percentage says most of the time it will not. But that's okay. That's just your process, and you're weeding out all the people that aren't going to end up being deals. But if you talk to 50 people and you still don't have a contract, I mean, you can't give up. That's what separates the successful people from the people that give up. You just have to keep going. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, but you got to keep going.
Well, I think that's, part of my background is starting in retail like that. I mean, I came in and thought I was just going to blow the doors off and we'd be doing great. Everybody went, we're not interested in you.
Before,
and it took 3 years. It took 3 years to even get the thing really rolling in a place where we could pay anybody a salary. So I get it's plowing ground, man. It's not. One thing everybody has to know is it's not. I'm new, but I know it's not easy. I hear all the voices. I hear all the training. I'm talking to a lot of people, and it's great when you make $5,000 or $10,000 or rehab something for $30,000 or $40,000 or $60,000. They're not easy to get. You got to keep working, working.
And not only that, like Brian says, there's tons, probably maybe not all of it, but there's tons of money in the follow up. Just because you talk to somebody today and they say no, it doesn't mean no 2 months from now. So you got to call them, and you got to keep track of them, and you got to keep following up with them as well. Because just the other day, we just got some apartments under contract that I talked to the guy probably 7 or 8 months ago, made him an offer. He never called back, and then just out of the blue, he was like, "Well, what are you guys offering now?" And it may not seem like it's always working, but if you're putting in your hours, you're putting in your work, and in yourself and investing in your knowledge base, then you will turn a corner at some point. But I can't tell you when.
Well, Fortune Builders says that 60% of their deals are done from follow-ups.
Yeah, ours are half. That's right. I mean, that's a good statistic.
Yeah.
We got 2 other people. There's 6 of us in here. A couple of us have asked questions. If you have a question, hit 5-star now. Otherwise, I don't really have anything else. And I don't know if Sam, you have anything else.
Just keep grinding, guys. If everybody listening, just keep going. It'll work out eventually.
Okay. Hey, you're on. What's your name?
Hey, this is Jill. How are you guys?
Hey, Jill. Great.
Jill Talbert. Hey, Brian. I got a question. So, with your follow-up, because I know I'm, there again, I missed that first part of all that. When you follow up, is it better to do it via phone, like if you, is it better to do it on a personal phone call, or you just email, or what have you found is your best follow-up, and how many times do you tend to hit them with a follow-up before you just kind of move it over to another pile?
Never. The last part of your question is never.
No, but I mean, surely you move it from a
Nope.
let's hit them every day or every week to, okay, let's just go to a monthly, or let's check back with them in 6 months or whatever. But how many times do you hit them like back to back to back before you shuffle that deck?
Yeah, Sam just said there's no formula. I think if you, because there's always the balance there, Jill. I'm assuming that this is what you're talking about. There's always a balance between trying to be persistent and being annoying. So you got to find that. You got to find that happy medium. Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. We try. First of all, as many different types of follow-up the better, is what I've found. So if you've got their phone number, that's great. If you got their email address, that's even better. And then even try to send a personal letter. So with everybody at REIA, just for instance, if you're new to REIA, you've either gotten an email from me. Some people I've sent cards to, thank you cards for coming. Some people I send texts. Just some people I've called. So as many different forms of medium, the better. Because you don't know which one that person prefers and likes to be communicated with the best. But what I'm about to tell you is not something that we've been awesome at executing by any means, but you really do need to be following up with people on a weekly basis until they just tell you to stop. You got to be that persistent with it, at least once a week, if not a little bit more, until they just tell you to stop. And that's it. And I know it's hard. You got to really have that salesman mentality. So if you go in and you go to try to buy a car, but you leave without buying a car, you're going to get a phone call every single day for probably about 2 weeks. And that's the salesman mentality of it. That's not me, but I'm still following up with them probably every other day for a good 2 weeks. I'm following up with them every single week, once a week, until they just tell me to stop. And at that point, it might be a monthly. At that point, they're probably going to end up giving me some sort of insight. Well, we're not going to be ready to make a move until, for like 4 months or 6 months. Right. So then I put them at 3 months, I call them back. You know what I'm saying? What's really good with that is like autoresponders. If you got their email address, you can hit them with automatic emails. And if you're going to do that, and it's really cheap and free to set up autoresponders, Jill, too, by the way. If you do that, hit them with one-liners. Don't send people long, complicated emails because they're not going to read them anyway. Send them one-line emails. I love it. I love one-line emails because you're guaranteed that they're going to read it. Does that answer your question? Does that help? It's not an exact science. I think that you just...
I've got a particular property that it started as a different deal. They wanted me to come out and help them do a little bit of rehab work on it. And it's kind of starting to turn into, I find that they keep dragging their feet. They haven't done anything. It's not like they want to hire anybody else. And they're kind of looking for a consultant to help them through the process. They're not sure if they're going to move back into the house themselves or sell it. And so I finally kind of sent them a notice that said, I'd love to talk with you about potentially buying it or doing a partner on it, because I think they're just kind of dragging their feet on I think they don't know where to start and they don't know what to do. And so I think this would be a really good deal that I would love to help these people with. I'm not real sure how to package.
Let me ask you
because they're not in this business. And so when you start trying to package something to them like let's partner with it or I'll buy it, they don't really want to sell it because they want to make some money off of it. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of in this thought process of let me help you fix it up and I'll do some of the work or whatever for a portion of the profit. And with your standard person that's not in the real estate investment world, that really kind of throws them for a loop. Then all of a sudden they think there's something sketchy. Mm-hmm. And my point to them is always, really and truly, if you want to, a contractor should have some sort of skin in the game. Otherwise, how do you know they're making the right decisions? How do you know they're picking out the right colors for you to resell this house? How do you know that they're getting, the best bargain and the best deals on fixing the fixtures and stuff? Otherwise
Jill,
they're going to come in and just
yeah. So now you're kind of shifting into a kind of a separate subject, and that's fine. And I think when it comes to creative real estate versus just boom, quick cash offer, is you got to find their motivation. You got to understand their motivation first before you can move forward with anything. If their motivation is to make more money than what your cash offer could be, or if they don't want to sell it at all, or they want to make some, then you got to present, hey, the only way to make that happen is we got to get creative, and we can get creative by doing X. And I wouldn't get really deep into the weeds about anything I communicate with them until I gauge their interest on, would you be interested in something creative? And just have like an elevator speech, just a one or two liner. Like, what if I could come in and front the money for the fix up, and we partner on it? Would that be something you'd be open to? And just instead of getting into the details, because they may say no right away, and because they may not understand it. So I wouldn't try to like, well, let me help you understand it and get really in the weeds. Then they're going to get lost even more. So they have to be open to that in the beginning, is what I've found. But as far as the follow-up stuff, I kind of equate that to, if I get a letter in the mail, like say from Capital One, I feel like I'm getting a letter from Capital One once a week for probably the last year about trying to get a credit card with them, right? I'm getting one once a week, and I just throw it away. Getting one once a week. So it's the same kind of thing where you're going to send them a letter once a week. And if you're not getting a response, one day they're going to look at that and be like, you know what? You're going to hit them on the right day. You know what? I've been getting this piece of mail. I'm going to call and see what it's about. So once a week, write them a handwritten letter. And make it quick. Don't make it long and elaborate. Just make it really quick. 2 or 3 or 4 lines with your phone number, your name and your phone number. And that's it. And you just keep sending them the same letter over and over. Does that help, Jill?
But in this other situation, is it better to have those kind of conversations with them on the phone or in person, or have you found that in terms of getting into a creative deal with somebody like that, have you found that they prefer email because they can, or face to face, or?
There is no prefer. It's going to be them. Everybody's different. I prefer a text. Like, I prefer someone to text me, like, because I can get to that on my time, as opposed to like a phone call. If someone calls me, they're kind of intruding on my time. But if they send me a text, I can respond to that on the time I've got available. That's me. Everyone has kind of their own different things, so that's why it's best to try as many mediums as you can and see which one you might have the best success with. Does that help? Any? Maybe? Cool. Thanks, Jill. If anyone else has a question, we got about 20 more minutes, actually. If anyone else has a question, hit 5 star. Hit the number 5 and star. I really do appreciate you guys coming on the call. We had about 6 people. Sam had to go, and I appreciate his time as well. He provided a lot of really good insight. And I guess we're just going to go ahead and end the call because no one else is raising their hand. So I don't know how to do this. But I really do appreciate you guys coming on. If you have a question that maybe you were too embarrassed to ask, or maybe you just didn't want to be in front of everybody, you can always email me, info@alareia.com, info@alareia.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook. Make sure you're liking our Facebook page. Comment on our stuff. Go look at our YouTube videos. We got a whole bunch of stuff, and we had a really good podcast this past week that just came out. So go check out our podcast as well. Thank you guys so much for coming on the call, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks.